Right slippy, 40, turn, hairpin right, hairpin left, bump dip. 400, 40, 5 right, 80, square right grid, 4 left tightens. 40, 3 left, 5 right, 130, 6 right tightens, crest bump, 2 left, 4 right, caution, whoa, you okay, Yeah, good.
Hello and welcome to Rally Race Guys. I'm Zach here, and today we got a lot of updates to be fair. So today the ultimate video will be as what the title and the picture is actually modifying a GTI subframe for a rally purposes. So that's strengthening and also attaching the sump guard mounts that are currently on the other subframe, so that's here. So we've got to cut a little bit off that. We've got to weld them onto this GTI subframe, which has now been blasted by David. I'll put his link in the description. He's done all of my alley stuff with soda and all my steel stuff with sand, so that's all ready. So we're going to be stitch welding it so we can strengthen it, then we'll get it powder coated. So we've had the bottom arms done, we've had both hubs done, we've had anti-roll bar done, we've had the GTI subframe done, we've had the gear linkage done, we've had the bottom shock mounts done, we've had the springs done, all sandblasted, so they are all down the road at AWB powder coating. So Andy there is doing the powder coating for us. So once we've done the modifications of the subframe, then that will be going off to him as well. When I get the other hub back, that will be going to my mate Tom, which we will today get the head back. So that is Frontline Performance Engineering. So he did the skimming on that. So he did that, and he extracted a stud that we got stuck in the head also. The hubs will be going to him. The reason this is because let me find it. Where's it gone? Here it is. Okay, let me just set this up on the bench. I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually elongated on the casting here, and this is because this has been clamped too much around the bottom ball joint in the bottom arm. If this is not the case, you genuinely cannot buy any more of these. So the only way you can do is machine them out and put a sleeve in. And actually Tom at Frontline Performance Engineering will be milling it out, then he'll be welding a new insert into here. So we've got a little bit of a sleeve so it's not oiled out. We will be all good on that front. We've got a pair of hubs to be done. This one's done. I've just dropped off the other hub to David at, I think it's EcoJet Blasting. We've got virtually everything ready to be blasted, which is a massive feat, to be fair. The fact that we've got this far, and well, we're this far through the build and we're getting everything ready. So that will be virtually all the undercar done, other than we rebuilt the rear beam in-house, but that might be going to Axles by Steph if you find him on Facebook, and he does some amazing work, but that will only be after we've destroyed anything on this one. So we're just going to run it as it is because it's perfect at the moment. We're just going to run it as it is. We might get it widened for the car, so we got a wider track width. But also, we got these. I've been stepping over these, which is the turnover jig, which I mentioned last time. So this finally got delivered on Tuesday, I believe. So this all got delivered. So there's one there and one there. So one goes front, one goes rear. And also we got a 5 meter long box section delivered today. And also these are the other pieces to it. We also got delivered 20 gauge, which is 0.9 of a mil steel. So this is mild steel. This is 2.5 meters by 1.5 meters of mild steel, and this will do any of the stuff that we need to do. Yes, it's a bit overkill, but it will do anything we need. We probably won't even use half of this when we're tubbing the arches and stuff like that, but it was cheaper to buy this and this 5 meter length than it was a couple of sheets of this. So it's, and a little bit of this. But now we're going to get on with this. We're going to cut some stuff off it. So we're going to take it's a bracket that I'll show you. So this bracket here needs to come off. It literally is 2 self tappers, which is these two. So they're Phillips from underneath. And this is the exhaust guard for the steering rack, because the steering rack sits here. And then also we need to cut this off, because this is the old placement of the gear linkage, and we need to go and get the other one off this one, which is here. So we need to cut this one off, and we don't need this ball because we've already got one over there, but that is the only thing that needs to come off this. And also the 2 standoffs here, they need to come off as well. So these 2 standoffs need to come off, that one and that one. But after that subframe was virtually scrap. I am going to put it online into the Peugeot groups just in case somebody needs it, because we've got a rusted through one or something that they might need to be able to take bits off. But that's fully polybushed. They might want it just for the polybushes. We are going to get on with this, and let's get welding. I don't know if you can see that, but I've put arrows on virtually everywhere I need to go. So there's a lot of flanges, just looking at where there's 2 pieces of metal together where it hasn't been welded. I aim to do 25 mil of welding every 50 mil, and I'll do that. That's why there's 5 points, because it's roughly around 300 mil. I've marked everywhere I want, so I can't lose anything. So if there's not weld near that, then there's a lot of points that weren't welded, but they will be now. But next thing to do is cut that off and flat it back so it's all nice, and then get the other subframe up here and then start cutting. That is that cut off, and then all the welds ground back. So the way I did it was cut it a little bit proud and then slit down the welds, because they're only welded on 2 sides. That came off, and then I flatted the welds off. So that's done on both sides, as you've just seen. So now this goes and sits down on the floor, because we don't need it for the moment. The next thing, we need the other subframe, so we can cut off the mount and then the 2 sump guard mounts. But before we do that, we're going to take some measurements, because these are they're very, very similar. We're just going to take some measurements so we can position them correctly. 10 here. So all I'm measuring is from this flange here to the start of the hole, which is 105 millimeters, and then to do the same, that is 189. But if we get this in this side, this will fall into place anyway. This is fine, because it's all it is on this plane, because it sits square here as it's shaped, and it's just the X. It's no Y or Z. So it sits on this flange, and this box section here. And so we'll cut that off next. Then we'll go underneath and then position those, take some measurements. I'm actually going to write these measurements on the part, because it doesn't matter, because they'll be reblasted after I've done it. And then so we're not losing them. I've just double checked, so I checked this hole with the lower engine mount bolt, like a backwards S, so it's like a roller coaster, where the hump meets this main cross member. So I've just checked that, that's 180 millimeters, and on the other subframe it's 180 millimeters as well. Our measurements will be correct. So now I'll get on with cutting this. I've chopped off the mount, both mounts, so that's off. So now I've measured these, both of these, and now I've got a placement for them, so in this square and also in this square. This left hand side one, I don't know if I can tell, it's actually crooked, so it's leaning more this way, just to over exaggerate, so it should be straight, but actually it's crooked. So I'm actually going to fix that, because that makes the we're actually cross threading this bolt. I want to rectify that, so we're just going to slit down there, slit, and then knock it off. Same with the other side, and then we're gonna clean them up, and then we're gonna start welding. So now we've got the gear pivot point, so I'm just going to take the backing material off that was left on, straighten it up and prepare it for welding, because that's the first thing we're going to weld. I've actually, as you just saw in the last clip, I've just finished welding, so I'll show you that now. It was pretty easy to weld, to be fair. I've got a decent MIG, I've got Mac Tools MIG 180 amp, and I took a welding course at college, so I've got a level 1 BTEC in welding, so I can do MIG and TIG. This is what I've done. It's not the best. This is proper picture. So we've got them all welded now. So there you go. So all we're going to do is the underneath, so we're going to clean up those cups, clean up the cups and weld them, and let's get seam welding. I won't record this bit, but it'll be the same as the other one, and I will come back to you after I've welded this. I've now finished the welding. All the parts that we needed to pop on the other than the seam welding is done now. So the seam, so these are done. So I did them in 4 sections, tack welded them, and then did the in between. Obviously it's not TIG welding standard, but it's definitely good for MIG welding, so that's not coming off anytime soon. Now I'm going to start stitch welding it. We'll get on with that. I probably won't record that because I've only got a little bit more memory card left. You'll probably see a little bit of it, but then you'll see the final product. So you've just seen me all weld. I know it wasn't the full clip, but I've now fully stitch welded to this. So I'll show you now. So there you go. So it's virtually 25mm, 25mm. I've done little tacks here just because it's just goes from 2 to 1, and so it goes all 3 there. So I just did a little tack there. So I supported everything. So all in there, all around here. So that's virtually what you want. I know these gaps are a little bit bigger, but that was evenly spaced, and I followed it round, and there you go. But yeah, that's what you need to do. So now this is going to go off to Andy at powder coating. He's going to blast the little bits that aren't obviously blasted, and then he's going to powder coat this. So this will come back perfect. I'm very, very happy with how we've got on and the progress that we've made. I'm going to leave this video here today because that's what we wanted to do today, but the head will be back with us next week because the stud is causing a couple of problems, and also we've given the hubs to Tom so he can sleeve them. That's the bottom ball joint, so if you're a Peugeot owner, you know for a fact that the bottom ball joint stretches because people over tighten it. He's going to machine that out, put a steel insert into it, or it's a split bush. We'll be good to go. We might have to do that a couple of times, but that's the only way of repairing those hubs. If you can't generally do anything else. Generally you scrap them and you can't buy new ones, so you have to do this. But yeah, thank you for watching today, and if you have any questions about this, fire them down in the description. But thank you for watching, and like and subscribe, comment if you want, see our social medias, and see you in a bit.